Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished scholars and educators, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Go possible. Purpose that we welcome you all to this online international conference on bridging tradition and innovation, the future of English language teaching. In an age where change is constant and the demands on educators are ever increasing, and essential space for reflection, dialogue, and transformation. The field of English language teaching stands at a critical juncture where long-established pedagogical framework and global educational reform. Our aim today is to build a bridge between the invaluable traditions that have guided generations of teachers and the innovative practices that are reshaping how English is taught and learned across context. Uh, this conference brings together a rich array of presentations that explore core themes at the heart of this transition. From the enduring relevance of schema project-based learning in enhancing student motivation, from the evolving practices of digital reading among Moroccan EFL learners, to the ethical implications and opportunities of AI in language education, and finally, to learners' perspectives on classroom-based assessment. Each contribution offers a unique lens into the future of English language teaching. As we embark on this intellectual journey, we encourage the audience not only to practice. Together, we can envision a future of for ELT that honors pedagogical wisdom while embracing the creativity and innovation needed to meet the challenges of our time. Welcome again, and thank you for being to the first speaker. But please allow me first to provide a brief introduction about her. Our first speaker is Dr. Belouiza Ouafaa. Dr. Belouiza Ouafaa is a middle school teacher and a passion for language education. She holds a master's degree in teaching English as a foreign language, and she has recently defended her doctoral dissertation. Her research project investigated the relationship between Moroccan EFL students' prior knowledge and their reading comprehension performance. She has contributed to the field through several published articles focusing on language acquisition, reading strategies, and EFL classroom practices. Her work aims to bridge the gap between theory and practice by helping both students and educators improve their teaching and learning outcomes. Driven by curiosity and a deep belief in the power of education, she continuously seek innovative ways to engage her students and love for English. Her teaching style blends academic rigor with empathy, making her classroom a space where learners feel inspired and supported. In her presentation today, entitled Implications and Applications of and Pedagogical Implications of Schemata Theory within the context of Moroccan EFL classrooms, her presentation explores practical applications of the theory, including pre-reading activities, contextualized vocabulary, instruction, and materials to foster deeper comprehension. Drawing on empirical studies and classroom-based observations, the speaker argues for schema-informed pedagogy as a means to promote inclusive, cognitively grounded, and culturally responsive reading instruction in Morocco. Is yours.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Can you hear me? Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
we can start. Yes, please.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be part of that interesting and enjoyable meetings that takes time that take place online. And it is an interesting themes, which is it's up to date, especially when we talk about teaching and learning process, and especially in Moroccan classrooms. Actually, I don't know if I share my presentation. If you can see my, it's
Yes, we
can you
can see the
can you
slides.
see? Yes. So the presentation is about
Yes, we do. Yes.
implications and applications of schemata theory to classroom reading instructions. I mean, I focus on schemata theory as a framework, especially in the Moroccan classrooms, and how teachers should deal with that theory to activate students' prior knowledge and to make students enjoyable and not bored when it comes to reading text. For the outline, we have introduction, the theoretical framework, contextual background, and pedagogical implications. For the introduction, schemata theory emphasizes the role of prior knowledge in understanding text. In classroom reading instructions, activating students' existing mental framework is essential for improving comprehension, especially in contexts where learners face cultural or linguistic gaps with the material they are reading. By applying schemata-based strategies, teachers can better support students in making meaningful connections, thereby enhancing reading effectiveness and engagement. This theory holds particular relevance in the Moroccan EFL context, where learners often encounter English texts that are culturally distant or unfamiliar. Many Moroccan students struggle not because of weak language skills, but because the content of the reading materials they are reading, which means that doesn't connect them with their lives experiences, prior knowledge, or cultural realities. Activating schemata theory in Morocco involves activating prior knowledge through pre-reading activities like discussion, local examples, and visual prompts, selecting or adapting cultural relevant texts that reflect Moroccan realities, such as themes related to environment, migration, family, or traditions, building new schemata by providing contextual background when introducing unfamiliar topics, by making reading instruction more culturally responsive and cognitively accessible. Moroccan EFL teachers can significantly enhance students' engagement, comprehension, and motivation. For the theoretical framework, schemata theory developed by Anderson in 1977 emphasizes that reading comprehension depends on the reader's ability to connect new information to existing knowledge frameworks known as schemata in the classroom. This means students understand text better when their background knowledge is activated and aligned with the context they read. Carroll 1984 and Carroll and Ishol 1983 identify three main types of schemata. that influence reading comprehension. We have content schemata, formal schemata, and linguistic schemata. The first one, content schemata, refers to a reader's background knowledge or prior knowledge about the world, cultural, and topic of a text, which students helps them make sense of content. For the formal schemata, involves knowledge of the structure and organization of different text types, enabling readers to predict and navigate the text format. For linguistic schemata, are the reader's understanding of the language itself, I mean like grammar, vocabulary, and syntax, which allows them to decode and interpret written words. How schemata influence text interpretation? Schemata shapes the interpretation of written text in several ways. They fill in gaps. I mean, readers or learners use schemata to infer missing information or resolve ambiguities in the text. For example, when details are omitted, prior knowledge fills the blanks. They add prediction. Activated schemata allow readers to anticipate content and making reading more efficient and fluent. They determine relevance. Schemata help readers focus on relevant information and ignore irrelevant details. That is, a reader interpretation is influenced by which schemata are activated. They impact comprehension. If appropriate schemata are not activated, misunderstanding or superficial reading may occur. That cultural mismatch between the reader's schemata and the text can hinder comprehension. Contextual background. Overview of Moroccan secondary EFL classrooms. Moroccan secondary schools introduced English as a mandatory foreign language, often as the third language after Arabic and French. Classrooms tend to be large and diverse, with students varying widely in their linguistic proficiency and exposure to English outside schools. Teachers' methods frequently rely on traditional teacher-centered approaches, limited interactive language practices, and authentic reading experiences. For common challenges in reading comprehension, Moroccan EFL learners face significant difficulties in reading comprehension, including limited vocabulary, insufficient prior knowledge, and lack of effective reading strategies. Furthermore, inadequate exposure to English in daily life restricts the development of linguistic schemata, making it hard for students to decode text fluently. These challenges often lead to frustration and decreased motivation. The cultural and linguistic gap between learners and English texts. A major obstacle in Moroccan EFL classrooms is the cultural and linguistic gap between students and English texts. Most readers or most reading materials reflect Western cultural context and familiar to Moroccan learners, resulting in comprehension difficulties and a lack of engagement. And there is that absence of interaction between students and the text. This match affects learners' ability to activate relevant schemata, which is crucial for understanding and interpreting text. Addressing this gap by integrating cultural relevant content and background knowledge is essential for improving reading outcomes. For the pedagogical implications, schemata activation helps Moroccan EFL learners connect text to their prior knowledge, improving comprehension. Prior knowledge enables better prediction and inference during reading, crucial for Moroccan students with limited English exposure. Teachers must design pre-reading activities and select relatable text to bridge schemata gaps and boost motivation. Thank you very much for your attention. And these are the references that I depend on when preparing this presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your informative and interesting presentation. in which you talked about activating learners' prior knowledge and the use of schema theory in Moroccan EFL classrooms in particular. You
Thank you.
also reviewed the different types of schemata theory, including content, effect of schema activation on text interpretation, and mentioned several challenges that learners encounter in interpreting text. He also talked about different implications of schema theory. The second speaker, Si Abdelmounim Lagmidi, in Sidi Slimane, Morocco. Degree in teaching English as a foreign language awarded by academic credentials. He is certified in training of trainers and holds two TESOL certificates, which reflect his dedication to professional excellence in language education. Said Monem is an active member of the Global VAS Foundation, where he has played a key role in organizing and facilitating seminars and professional development workshops. Committed to lifelong learning, he has engaged in numerous walks and webinars offered by leading national and international institutions, education, educational psychology, ICT in education, remote thinking, remote teaching, classroom management, feedback, and language assessment. In his presentation entitled Exploring the Impact of Project-Based Learning on Students' Memory is going to present his research findings on the effect of project-based learning on students' motivation within Moroccan high school EFL classrooms and highlight the potential of project-based learning as a catalyst for promoting autonomous. Now, let us hear from you, Si Abdelmounim.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Si Abdelmounim, please go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
great.
We hear you.
So good evening, everyone. I'm so glad to be here with you today. It's a great opportunity to be part of this great online conference with you. So as you have said, my research is related to project-based learning and students' motivation, insights from one high school here in Morocco. Because in addition to what you've mentioned, I am a high school teacher. I have been teaching for 7 years now. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the significance of the study. According to Margaret and Gardner, 3 factors are essential in developing students' speed to learning a language, which are age, personality, and motivation. Okay? Motivation is responsible for students' engagement in learning, in the learning process. Since students have different levels of motivation, there are various teaching methods, okay, that would match or that would help students develop the learning. So here, I'm going to move to the objective, which is related to why we are doing this. The objective of this study is to explore if there is a significant relationship between project-based learning and students' motivation types, namely extrinsic motivation, intrinsic, and attitude motivation. I'm going to move to the research hypotheses and questions. So first, the research question. There is one research question, which is there any significant relationship between project-based learning and the 3 types of motivation, extrinsic, intrinsic, and attitude? The research hypothesis, there is only one, which is related to there is a significant relationship between project-based learning and motivation types, the 3 types that we talked about before. So here, I'm going to mention quickly some definitions related to motivation, because I don't want to delve into theory a lot. So motivation is thought to be a crucial component of the teaching and learning process. It is defined as a process of circulation through which learners are motivated. Again, Kashwa in 2006 said that motivation is a psychological mechanism that controls and guides learners' action. Pardee and Roland, before him, said that motivation is the reason that encourages or that pushes an individual to do certain behavior or action in certain way to develop an inclination. Okay, and the latest definition here says that motivation is seen as a decision-making process on which a person relies to opt for the desired outcomes. Okay, the desired, like for example, what they want to achieve in the future. PBL defined project-based learning. Project-based learning is a modern and revolutionary learning approach to the traditional teaching methods that took place on a large scale in schools in the USA. It is considered as a student-centered method where educators help and guide learners through the process of solving problems. So there is a problem and they are guided towards trying to solve that particular problem. So that's it. I'm going to move to empirical studies. All of these empirical studies that you can see here has proved the effectiveness of PBL in improving students' motivation. Nevertheless, in Morocco, there seems to be a little or no study that explored the relationship between PBL and students' motivation types, namely extrinsic motivation, intrinsic, and attitude motivation. The researchers of the present study, therefore, attempt to fill in this theoretical gap, in the Moroccan context by examining such a relationship in the contexts of EFL learners in Moroccan high schools. Okay. Here I'm going to move to the research methodology. Concerning the research design, the current study is built on a mixed methods design. It is both quantitative and qualitative. Okay, but it first starts with the quantitative design, which is, as we can say, explanatory mixed method design. The research sample, we have selected a group of 20 students from 5 classes of second year baccalaureate level studying at Qasim Amin High School, where I've been working for 6 years now. Using the convenience sampling technique, the current research focuses on one high school where participants are convenient and easy to reach. As we said, we have opted for convenience sampling technique for its ease to collect the data or to look for our informants. The research instruments, we have two, as we have the quantitative, which is the 5-point Likert scale questionnaire, and the qualitative, which is related to semi-structured interviews conducted with some students. Let's continue with the research methodology. So the data collection procedure, participants are given a project titled Eco Dream to conduct. It is a 5-week project that begins on December, okay, and ends in January. The project problem is about the effect of trash output and gasoline use on health and environment in the city of Sidi Slimane. It is based on the participants, on what the participants have studied before in the units of sustainable development, which is part of the baccalaureate program here in Morocco. After filling out a 5-point Likert scale questionnaire, the participants are invited. Some of them are invited to sit for a semi-structured interview so that they help answer 3 important open-ended questions. So we have recruited some of them to confirm the 5-point Likert scale questionnaire. As we said, it's explanatory mixed method design. The data analysis procedure, following the main objective of the current study, which is to explore the association between PBL and the 3 types of motivation, Pearson's correlation coefficients and Cronbach's alpha, statistical tests, as well as thematic analysis will help analyze the data. The reliability statistics of the questionnaire, which is related to the external reliability coefficients, the Cronbach's alpha is 0.79, which is good, okay, for the 38 items and accepted in most social research studies, and education is highly related to this. So it's accepted. Again, the questionnaire results, project-based learning, relationship with extrinsic motivation. The correlation findings present that PBL and students' extrinsic motivation are positively and significantly correlated. Thus, the hypothesis that saying that there is a significant relationship between PBL and students' extrinsic motivation is accepted. Same thing happens with intrinsic motivation. According to the findings of the correlation test, the correlation coefficient value in table 3, of course, I'm not going to show you the table and the details, is R equals 0.58, and the p-value is 0.022. In other words, the correlation of the findings revealed that PBL and students' intrinsic motivation are positively and significantly correlated. According to the hypothesis stating that there is a significant relationship between PBL and this type of motivation, which is the intrinsic one, this hypothesis is accepted. Last but not least, the relationship between PBL and attitude motivation. The findings reveal that PBL and students' attitude motivation are positively and significantly correlated again. Hence, the hypothesis expecting that there is a significant relationship between the two is accepted. Let's move on to the findings related to the semi-structured interview, which is the qualitative design. We have recruited 6 informants, okay, from the students that filled the 5-point Likert scale questionnaire. And the results as follows says that what is it's truly worth mentioning is that participants acknowledge positive impacts of project activity on their views of themselves and English learning as well. Okay, Rashida, which is one of the, of course, I'm using pseudonyms. These are not the real names of the participants. So Rashida is P1. Okay, participant 1 reveals that I like the project activity, explaining that it changed my view of myself. For I simply put had the chance to take part in solving the project problem. Again, another pseudonym, Khadija, which is not the real name, of course, declares that the project activity was a good experience for her because it was her first time conducting a project in the real life word I mean, and using teamwork mode inside and outside the walls of school. I very much enjoyed the project activity because it positively changed my perceptions towards learning, claimed Latifa. Likewise, Dries, Ahmed, and Rashid exhibit positive attitudes towards the project activity, confirming that such a new experience made them change their attitudes, their teacher, and his new teaching style. This gives evidence that PBL seems to have magic power in changing students' attitudes towards English. The discussion, the outcome of the current research is also supported by previous studies conducted by all of these researchers. So these studies found, okay, that PBL promotes students' motivation in the learning process. In other words, this learning method allows for more students' responsibility and voice for their learning and involves them in investigation and real-world problems, trying to solve a problem, which increases their motivation. It also stimulates students' learning enthusiasm and develops collaborative learning among themselves. Okay, according to these studies, students who experience the PBL are found to develop positive impressions of themselves, their teachers, and their classmates. This learning method also develops the enjoyments of the learning process because the project activity is motivation, appealing, and entertaining. Besides, PBL has significant impact on students' readiness for self-directed and autonomous learning. Through this learning method, students reach high level of self-management skills, which are crucial enablers for motivation in the learning process. The recommendation, it is therefore recommended that teachers, especially my colleagues, my ex-colleagues at Qasim Amin High School and high schools in the region of Sidi Sliman or Saleh, Rabat, Kenitra, should adopt PBL in the process of teaching. This is due to the fact that PBL creates a motivating learning environment where students eagerly participate in the learning process. So this is the reference of the article, and thank you for your attention, and I'm eager for your questions, if any, okay?
informative presentation. Just to summarize what you have presented, you defined the term motivation, project-based learning, and raised a significant research question about and students' motivation. Your findings from a quantitative relationship between intrinsic, extrinsic motivation, attitude, and project-based learning, and you find teachers. I think now it's high time we move to another interesting presentation on smart tools, wise choices, effective and ethical use of AI in language education by Mr. Hamza of Nebraska, specializing in language teaching and the integration of artificial intelligence in language education. With several years of experience teaching English, he currently instructs university courses in education foundations, language teaching methods, and instructional technology. His research focuses on using emerging technologies to enhance language learning and teacher preparation. His talk explores evolving or the evolving role of artificial intelligence and chatbot language education. Drawing from hands-on classroom experiences and case studies, Hamza demonstrates how AI tools can personalize instruction, enhance learner engagement, and provide real-time feedback. His presentation offers practical and ethical strategies for integration, empowering educators to navigate emerging technologies with confidence and creativity. Hamza, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Welcome everyone to this presentation on the effective and ethical use of AI. My name is Hamza Rfissa. I'm a PhD student at the Department of Teaching and Learning and Teacher Education at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And I'm very happy to be here joining Belouiza International Academy to share my insights on this topic. My presentation will be on the effective and ethical use of AI in English language classrooms. This is an ever-evolving landscape in education. The integration of artificial intelligence has become a pressing concern. So as we navigate this new frontier, it is crucial that we approach it with deep sense of responsibility and commitment to empowering both educators, teachers, and learners. Today we'll explore why, how, and the what ifs of AI in a language education with the ultimate goal of equipping you with the knowledge and strategies to make wise choices in language classrooms. So as we stand at this crossroads where artificial intelligence is no longer just an experimental tool, it is now embedded in our classrooms. We know that students use it, teachers use it. So we have to start thinking a little bit more structurally about it. So why AI? How are people using it? What are case studies in action? What are the shifts, especially pedagogical and practical, in terms of using AI in education? And then what are the challenges that we're facing? And in the last part of the presentation, I will have a call to action. So let's dive into this. So to get started, it is important to fully understand the usefulness of the TPACK model, which is the technological pedagogical content knowledge. What this model does is help us understand what knowledge and skills language teachers, and all teachers for that matter, need in order to teach effectively. So the first thing every teacher needs to know is the content knowledge. If you're going to teach math, you need to have a degree in math or know a lot about it. If you want to teach English, the same thing happens. So content knowledge is the first thing, and then comes pedagogical knowledge, which is number two, and that's the knowledge of how to teach, how to create a lesson plan, how to manage your classroom, and all those skills that are important for teachers. And then The third part of this Venn diagram is the technological knowledge. Now that's the tricky part, because it is ever changing, and now with AI, everything we knew about technology has been changing the last couple of years. So how do we bridge all these types of knowledge so teachers more effectively in the classroom? So by examining those various components, we can gain insights into how AI can be seamlessly integrated into our language classrooms, from understanding the content-specific applications of AI to leveraging its technological capabilities to enhance our pedagogical approaches. So this is a framework that will serve as a technologies. Now, the bottom part of the model is survival, and actually, I think rejection should have been on the bottom, because some teachers just straight up reject new technologies and just not want to adopt them because they don't see that those things are useful. They're just a waste of time. We don't have the resources. We're just going to reject those. There are other teachers that try to survive new technologies by learning the minimum they need to know to use them effectively in the classroom. And then you have the mastery stage, where people, where teachers kind of learn all the ins and outs of new tools and start using them in the classroom all the time. And then we have the impact one and the innovation. So it is really important to understand where teachers are at in terms of their confidence in new technology. Another model that really helps us understand how AI is being adopted is the technology adoption curve. And what this does is really, gives us a way to understand where we are at now and what the next phases are. So like any new technology, there are always early adopters. Those are people that adopt that technology as soon as it's out there. And then we have the early market, and then we have this gap here in the middle, the chasm, and that's the hard part. This is where we're at, in my opinion, when it comes to AI. So we have tried it, we experimented with it. Everybody tried ChatGPT at least a few times. And now what? How can this be useful in the classroom? What are ways we can mainstream this? So that is the challenge. And that's what I'm talking about today, is how do we move from this early adoption phase to the mainstream kind of early majority phase. And without training, without logistical support, it becomes really hard to make that leap from the early adoption to the early majority. So the chasm between the early adopters and the early majority, it's like a giant gaping hole that we have to figure out how to cross. And let me tell you, it's not easy. It's trying to jump over a big canyon, but with little creativity and a whole lot of determination, we probably can find ways to bridge that gap. And hopefully that this presentation today does a little bit of that. So this is something that all teachers are familiar with, and researchers in education love to always quote this. This is the Bloom's taxonomy, and you're probably familiar with this. What it does is just outline the levels of cognitive tasks that we sometimes have students do in the classroom. Remembering is the basic one, where people have to memorize, knowledge. Understanding is a little bit deeper, and then as you go up, applying new knowledge, analyzing it, evaluating, and the top one is creation, where students have to create from scratch their own products, incorporating everything they learned so far. So as we explore the integration of AI, it is essential to understand how this technology where does AI fit? Is it going to help us remember or understand more deeply, or apply new knowledge, or create? So what are the the options. Hello? Hello?
Hello, yes, we
Yeah,
can
we can
hear
hear
you.
you.
We can hear you. Yes.
Hello, Sir Hamza. I think he has some technical problems. Sir Hamza, can you hear us? Hello? Okay. So I think Sir Hamza has some technical problems. So he's a teacher of English at a public high school in Saleh, Morocco. He earned a vocational bachelor's degree in teaching English as a foreign language in 2018 and a master's degree in applied linguistics and English language teaching in 2021 from the Faculty of Education at Mohamed V University in Rabat, Morocco. He is currently pursuing a PhD at the same institution, specializing in classroom-based assessment, language teaching and learning. His study examines students' perspectives on classroom-based assessment processes and offers key recommendations, implications, and suggestions for future research. Si Mohamed.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Mohamed.
Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Thank you. Can you see the slides now?
No.
What about now? Good evening, everyone. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to Beit Lisaniyat International Academy, especially the coordinators, Dr. Marwan Satran, Prof. Yasin Jamal Idrisi, Dr. Samah Hida, and Dr. Ahmed Ben Isa. Special thanks also go to Dr. Ouafaa Belouiza, Prof. Abdelmounim Lagmidi, Dr. Jamal Al-Barda, and Prof. Hamza Rfissa. In today's presentation, I'm going to talk about students' views toward classroom-based assessment processes in Moroccan EFL high schools. This is a paper that has recently been published. This is the outline of my presentation. I will start with a short introduction, followed by the research objective and questions, methodology, key findings, and I will conclude with some implications. Students' views are formed from an early age, which means that students, through their experience of classroom-based assessment, how it's carried out, especially the roles they are expected to play during the assessment process, they form these views. As a result, students' specific beliefs and perceptions about classroom-based assessment processes and their outcomes tends to be fixed over time. For example, some students might set learning objectives, while others may focus on performance goals. This is according to Shepard 2000 and Amwa City 2016. Several factors shape their perceptions of classroom-based assessment. These include, but are not limited to, the frequent use of specific assessment techniques, such as tests, and overemphasis on assessing lower-level skills, reliance on norm-referenced criteria, and a primary focus on the summative use of assessment results. This is especially the case in high-stakes testing environments like our context. Classroom-based assessment should fundamentally evolve into a learning culture. This is according to Tierney 2013, where it is seen as a process that communicates key learning objectives to students and motivates both students and teachers to align their efforts with meaningful learning and teaching. This is according to Alonso 2019. In this study, students' views toward processes. Processes are operationalized as encompassing students their underlying goals for engaging in classroom-based assessment activities, their awareness of learning objectives and assessment criteria, and their perspectives on participating in various classroom-based assessment activities. It also includes their perception and reaction to feedback and mistakes. So, In the Moroccan EFL context, assessment is still, this is according to the available research, assessment is still perceived as an end to obtain grades rather than a means of learning. This is according to Wateri in 2000 and Babni 2019. Rfissa 2016 also argues that assessment is not well understood. Presumably, this lack of understanding also extends to students, given that they are the primary stakeholders in the assessment process who are directly affected by and deeply involved in the implementation and outcomes of classroom-based assessment. Building on these insights, exploring students' views on classroom-based assessment processes will enable them, I mean students, to voice their stance regarding classroom-based assessment, particularly the perceptions of alternative assessment as highlighted by Babni 2019. Approaching classroom-based assessment from students' perspectives may offer valuable insights into the reasons behind the discrepancy between EFL teachers' self-reported conceptions, research implications, and their actual practices, which tends to be different. This is according to Rfissa and Ouafaa 2021 and Mohamed and Vig 2021. This also offers critical insights into enhancing EFL teaching and assessment practices, thereby fostering a learning-oriented assessment culture, which was recommended by Tierney in 2013. This kind of culture that promotes student involvement, autonomy, and improved learning outcomes. The research questions objective and question that this study addresses are as follows. It aims to explore students' views toward classroom-based assessment processes. So to realize this objective, it addresses the following questions. What are Moroccan EFL high school students' views toward classroom-based assessment processes? Do Moroccan EFL high school students hold positive views toward classroom-based assessment processes, and do these views support their involvement? When it comes to the methodology, this study adopted a cross-sectional survey design to collect descriptive numerical data offering a snapshot of Moroccan students' current views toward classroom-based assessment processes in EFL high schools, according to Creswell 2009 and Mills and Bay 2016. This study utilized an online self-report questionnaire accordingly, since it's relatively inexpensive and allows the collection of large amounts of data in a short time. The questionnaire consists of two sections. The first section collects the participants' background information, and the second section includes two questions. One addresses asks the participants to rate the extent to which they agree or disagree with 10-item views about classroom-based assessment processes, and a multiple choice question with 3 items assessing students' views toward mistakes. The participants in this study were 120 Moroccan EFL high school students. 65% were females and 34.4 were males. Regarding their school level, 49.1 study at the Common Core and 25% study at the first year and second year baccalaureate. Now the findings. The results demonstrated that the majority of students hold positive attitudes toward classroom-based assessment processes as defined in this study, including mistakes. Participants are neutral toward the importance of the written exams compared to other assessment techniques, as well as retaining information for a long time after taking these exams, despite the fact that written exams are the most frequent assessment techniques employed in our EFL classrooms. The participants also agreed with the importance of receiving descriptive feedback, being aware of the learning objectives of each classroom-based assessment activity, participating in various assessment activities, and including peer assessment to improve their learning. Participants also expressed a small tendency toward agreeing with the importance of participating in self-assessment, because this is expected, because this activity is less frequently employed according to other research findings. Receiving grades as the primary objective behind taking part in classroom-based assessment, the importance of participating in group assessment activities, and in specifying the assessment criteria. In general, there is a tendency to agree with collaborative-based assessment activities, student-centered assessment activities, more than traditional techniques. Concerning the students' views toward mistakes, participants are or demonstrated or reported that they perceive mistakes as opportunities for learning. This is evidenced by the fact that 76.9% of participants perceive mistakes as opportunities for learning. 14.2% consider them as bad habits to be corrected, and only 4.7% view them as signs of lacking intelligence. Based on these findings, the following implications are made. Implications for practice, implications for policy, and implications for research. Starting with policy, based on this finding, the National Ministry of Education is urged to revise local assessment policies and the instructional materials to promote the integration of alternative assessment techniques aimed at enhancing students' learning outcomes. Besides, teacher education and pre-service training programs should provide EFL teachers with comprehensive knowledge and practical skills in the effective implementation of diverse classroom-based assessment techniques and the use of feedback to support learning. More broadly, all concerned stakeholders, including parents, should work collaboratively to challenge and gradually transform the long-standing exam culture that has characterized the Moroccan EFL context for decades. Instead, efforts should be directed toward cultivating a culture that values deep learning, understanding, and the development of lifelong learning skills. Relevant to this, I would like to highlight a point. There were some researchers, let me cite Wakrim, 2000. This researcher made some recommendations, and he advocated for the use of assessment for formative purposes, and provided some arguments for this. And this was in 2000. Now, based on some research findings that were found by current researchers like Rfissa and Ouafaa, Omar Kli and Tamer, Mohamed and Vid, and Ben Shab and other researchers. Those arguments that were advocated in 2000 are still valid nowadays, which means that after 25 years, we haven't made much progress when it comes to assessment. We still focus on traditional techniques. We still use assessment mainly for summative decision making, and this is very serious. And from my perspective, if we want to make any serious change, we have to reconsider those standardized national exams like the baccalaureate exam. Why? Because imagine that a Moroccan student throughout his academic journey, he takes or he sits for multiple high stakes national, regional or national exams, and this leads these students to focus on performance goals, on passing the test, on setting for exams to get high grades and scores instead of learning. Now, when it comes to practice, it's highly recommended to involve students in classroom-based assessment processes by participating in selecting the learning objectives of their lessons, specifying the success criteria, and taking part in self-directed assessment activities, especially portfolio assessment. Some Moroccan researchers like Tamer and Omar Kli and Tamer, I think 2021, found that there is a significant impact of portfolio on students' I think self-concept and the writing quality. I mean, improving writing skills of students. So this is worth integrating in our EFL classrooms, in addition to the less frequently used assessment technique, self-assessment. Students require targeted training opportunities to effectively apply assessment criteria in both self and peer assessment. Guidance on how to meaningfully integrate feedback into the learning process is essential. Such support is particularly vital for fostering autonomous learning, enhancing self-determination, and strengthening their sense of self-efficacy. When it comes to research, concerning future research, in-depth qualitative studies employing interviews and narrative inquiry, we have to move beyond self-report measures. These qualitative measures are highly recommended to gain a more comprehensive understanding of students' perspectives, beliefs, and concerns surrounding classroom-based assessment processes in the EFL context. Why not consider primary school, secondary school? We have to make change from the earliest school years, if possible. Future research should further investigate the impact of using assessment criteria, using experimental designs. I mean, using self-assessment criteria in self and peer assessment on students' learning progress, particularly in enhancing the quality of their writing. Notably, and this is what I have noticed through conducting research in the level of high school. I mean, when targeting high school students, we have to account for the potential influence of language proficiency differences in participants' responses. Because once you administer a questionnaire in English, despite translating technical words and facilitating language, sometimes you get certain responses you are not happy with. You feel that they don't reflect reality, maybe because some students tend to answer questionnaires without understanding instruction. Thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Si Mohamed, for your insightful presentation. I would like first to express my sincere congratulations on publishing your interesting article. In your presentation, you raised 3 research questions about Moroccan EFL high school students' views towards CBA processes, CBA's role in supporting learners' improvement. And your findings showed that students hold positive processes and valued, received descriptive feedback, learning objectives, and divergence assessment activities. Your participants also showed moderate agreement with self-assessment, group assessment, and involvement in specifying the assessment criteria with relevant implications for policymakers, in-service and pre-service teachers, and different recommendations for future research. Now, I think we should go back to Si Hamza to continue with it. Si Hamza?
All right. Yeah. My apologies for cutting off in the middle of the presentation. And that's one of the main challenges of technology, basically, is that it can be unreliable sometimes and it cuts off. So I'll be picking up where I left off. We were talking about Bloom's taxonomy. We're all familiar with this. We love this taxonomy because it helps us kind of rank our tasks and things we ask students to do in terms of, how complex they are. So if we use that as a model to classify instructional technology, we end up with something like this. So there are technologies that helps us remember. There are technologies that that help us understand. There are others that help us apply knowledge. So those are just examples. There are plenty of others. Now, can we do the same when we talk about AI, for example? Remembering is the basic stage in the Bloom's taxonomy. So what can AI do? Sometimes it can help people avoid work or learning. You give them an assignment, they go copy paste it in ChatGPT, get you the product and submit it as their own work. So that is using AI to avoid learning. AI does the work for me. I am tired. I don't have time to do all this. So I'm just going to use AI to do this for me. The second level is reject busy work. I can do the work. I can do all the exercises, but there's just too many of them. So I'm just going to do 2 or 3 and then have AI do the rest for me. Or start, but then if I don't finish, I'm just going to use AI and have it do everything for me. The third step, which is a little bit higher, is get me started. I have an essay or paragraph that I need to write, and I need AI to help me brainstorm. I need more ideas. I need arguments. So that's a little bit more useful. So it can help me plan, brainstorm, or write a draft to rework. The next step would be to teach me. I'm trying to learn something and I'm getting stuck. I'm going to have AI teach me something, explain things to me that I don't understand, give me examples. And then we have the evaluation stage, which is using AI to evaluate your own work. As teachers, we can always use that. We can have students type in their paragraphs in ChatGPT and get feedback on how to improve them, correct their mistakes and all that stuff. So have AI critique my thinking, my work, make suggestions how to improve it. And then the last part is magnify. Allow me to be more productive. If a student was able to write a paragraph, now with help of the AI, they can write a short story. They can write a whole essay. So how can we even go beyond what students can do? How AI to help them even produce bigger chunks of output and more complex products. So if we update Bloom's taxonomy with AI, we end up with AI technologies promoting higher order thinking. They can be divided into 3 levels. The minimally transformative level is AI is a drill and practice. For example, if you're using AI to have students practice irregular verbs, that's very minimally transformative. At this point, we're even wondering, is it even AI or just other forms of simpler technologies? It can be used in a moderately transformative way. AI tool is guided and preset to manages how users engage with materials, applying, analyzing, and then the 3rd level is highly transformative. This is the open-ended tool that allows critical thinking, problem solving, exploration, and that sort of tasks. So just a quick example, since we don't have a lot of time to go into this today. Brisk teaching is something I would like to mention and encourage teachers to use more. It's an online platform that helps you create lesson plans, worksheets, slides, PowerPoints, any type of resource that you can use in the classroom. It would help you create those. If you have a YouTube video, you want a lesson plan out of it, it will do it for you. If you want a worksheet, a listening worksheet out of a video, you would get that few clicks and you have it ready. So that is something that I've used before. It is really transformative. I just wanted to share that in case people want to try it out. Okay. So we can use it to generate worksheets from videos, slides, lesson plans, texts. We change levels of text, and this is something that comes in really handy. Our classrooms are by nature multi-level classrooms. We have students of different abilities. Sometimes you cannot create different texts for different students in the classroom. You have to teach that specific lesson. So the one thing you can do is changing the levels of the text. And you do that so everybody is talking about the same topic. We're all discussing the same ideas. We're all working on the same thing, but the input sometimes is provided at different levels in order to accommodate for different proficiency levels of our students. Creating chatbots. Brisk teaching would help you create chatbots. For example, if you have a text and then you want to create a chatbot on it, give students a link and they go in there, they talk to the chatbot, and the chatbot would test them, see how much they took away from the text, the text, and what their understanding of the text is, kind of measure their comprehension. Another thing you can do is create lesson plans with it, create slides, give feedback. You can have students write in, for example, and have it grade them for you. Sometimes as teachers, we don't have time to do all that. We don't have time, for example, to see if the students met the word count. They have to write a paragraph that is 100 words minimum. So are we going to go and count word by word? So we can have AI do that for us. If we have a paragraph where students have to use present perfect, for example, or certain word bank that we provided in the lesson, are we going to go and count those things by hand, one by one? We don't have time for that. So using AI in those tasks is definitely time saving and something that will definitely help us in terms of time and effort. So this is just a quick example. I had this story of the Little Red Riding Hood. The original one was this one, and then I asked Brisk to change it to A2 proficiency level in the European framework. Basically, all your students are discussing the same story. You're probably doing the same comprehension tasks, which also can be adapted, but let's say you're keeping the same tasks. But students are accessing the same information differently, which is helpful because students have different levels, and a text that might be easy for someone is a text that's very challenging for another student. And in the same classroom. So being able to provide different versions of the same text, of the same lesson to the different students in my classroom is something that everybody would appreciate. And if you use AI to do that for you, then it's not as demanding as it would have been if you were to do it yourself. So this is something that AI can help us with, differentiating instruction. And this is something we all dream to do, but it's very time consuming to design different lessons for different students in the same classroom. So this is an area where AI can be very helpful. Now let's switch gears to AI policies. So do we allow AI or do we ban it? I'm sure you have colleagues in your schools that allow AI, encourage it, and then there are others that just ban it. You cannot use AI at all. So you have to write in the classroom. You have to do all your homework yourself and all that stuff. So what is a healthy policy when it comes to AI? The policy I would advocate for is a tiered policy, and it is crucial to implement some sort of policy anyway. The problem is not to have an AI policy as a teacher. So as long as you have a policy, that is good. An even better thing to do is have a tiered AI policy. And what we mean here is there are different ways of using AI. There is, as I mentioned before, using AI to brainstorm before a writing task is not the same as using AI to write a paragraph for me. So that would be a level 5, for example, of AI integration. Level 1 would be just using it as brainstorming, getting feedback. So we assign different tasks to students so we can just tell them what tier of AI integration this task is. Are they allowed to use AI completely for the end product, or they're allowed to use AI at some points during the task to help them get to the next stage? So it's just an invitation to be more intentional of where do you want your students to use AI in that task. Is it in the beginning, somewhere in the middle, or you want them to brainstorm, have an outline, and then give it to ChatGPT to get the end product? So that would be later towards the end of the task. So just recommend them to be intentional of when to include AI in your tasks and let students know beforehand how much AI is okay for each task. That's much better than having a blanket policy that covers all tasks, all the lessons, and everything the students are working on. Moving forward, it is essential that we consider the principles of inclusive design. This is what we call the curb cut effect. And as you see here, there is a curb cut. There is a kind of a lower area in the street where you can access the sidewalk easily. This was designed initially for people on wheelchairs, but it is helping everybody in this picture. The little kid on the scooter also has an easier time getting on the sidewalk because of that curb cut. The person pushing a stroller with a baby on it also will have an easier time. The person pulling a shopping cart also will have an easier time getting out of the street to the sidewalk. So what the idea here in the context of language education is that any differentiation in instruction, any accommodation, any use of AI that we implement in order to help us meet the needs of specific students actually ends up being helpful and useful to everybody in the classroom. If I create a word list, if I use AI to create a word list of my unit so that students can refer to it when they're revising or preparing for an exam, that is something that's helpful for everybody, not only the low achievers, not only the students who missed that lesson, not only the students who were in the classroom but didn't pay attention when I was explaining those vocab items. So when we use AI to create resources for the students, worksheets, lesson summaries, word lists, think of them as things that will be helpful to everybody, not only the people we initially think that those resources are going to help necessarily. So what is necessary for some students? If some students need few tools, those things might be good for all. They wouldn't hurt the rest of the classroom. And we cannot, there is no way we'll be able to accommodate every student. And that's why AI can be helpful. And if we're intentional about it, we can create resources that help all students at the same time, not waste our time and effort doing tedious tasks. So last but not least, best AI practices. So AI does the bulk, you add the fun. AI will do a lot of the stuff for you, but you will have to add, you're the teacher, you are the one with the knowledge, with the experience, you know your students, you will have to add some magic to that product. There's no way you'll get a lesson plan by ChatGPT and just go use it. You will have to add a few things because you're the person in charge. You're the person who knows the students in the classroom. Be precise. If you're using AI, just your prompts, make them as long as possible. Describe the students, describe the language level, their age, what the unit that was before that lesson was, and all that stuff. Give AI as much information as you can. That makes it more precise, more exact, more that would match your needs and the needs of your students. And then review before you share. Make sure to review everything you use AI to create. It's very easy for things to slip in that you don't want to share. So make sure you review everything you share. Okay, as we conclude, it is important to note that our exploration of AI in language education is in its beginnings. The field is rapidly evolving, and there are countless resources available to help us. We've made it to the end. I want to thank you for your time and attention. I apologize for the technical problems that I faced and for cutting off in the middle of the presentation, but I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to share my passion for AI and education with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Si Hamza. It's our pleasure to have you all with us today. In your presentation, you talked about the need for AI and why we need it in the present time. You also reviewed several relevant studies on the topic taxonomy to align with this recent technological advancement and provided strategies for practical and beneficial use of this tool and talked about several challenges we face when it comes to implementing AI in our teaching practice, which I see very beneficial AI tool that can make our lives easier. Now it's high time we opened discussion and see if we have any questions from the audience. Okay, so I have a question here from Ms. Hasna Al-Hakim. Her question is the following: how can English language teaching curricula preserve traditional pedagogical values without integrating digital tools and innovations, without reducing the richness of the language to merely surface level communicative competencies? Yes, please. Anyone can answer this question? Dr. Ouafaa, we cannot hear you. Please activate the mic. Hello? Dr. Ouafaa, your mic is mute.
The question is addressed to me?
Yes, to all of you, to all of you. I think
okay.
you're talking, yeah. Anyone can answer the question?
Okay, can you
Yes,
can you
okay.
put the question again?
I'll read it again. How can English language teaching curricula preserve traditional pedagogical values without integrating digital tools and innovations, without reducing the richness of language to merely surface level communicative competencies?
Okay. For me, when we talk about English teaching, especially in the Moroccan classrooms, and we have that type of traditional teachings that Moroccan teachers depend on, the use of AI facilitate teaching inside the classroom. How? Because when we integrate ICT or AI in the Moroccan classrooms, there is that new innovation inside the classroom, and we bridge the gap, or we pave the way for a new teaching that facilitates the learning and the teaching and learning process for students, and make students more creative and not bored and motivated, especially if I focus on the reading comprehension inside the classroom. As teachers, most students feel bored, and even teachers, not all of them, some of teachers, they skip that lesson or that skill, which is reading comprehension, or which is reading skill. Why? Because there is that absence of interaction between the teacher and the students. I mean, the teachers find themselves unable to teach that reading because of that lack of prior knowledge. If I'm talking about prior knowledge as a as a skill, as something that help teachers, and especially when they use the right reading strategies inside the classroom. This way, it facilitates the teaching and learning process inside the classroom. And when we talk about AI inside the classroom, it's something, yes, it's new. If it's overused, students will not be creative, and they will depend only on AI inside the classroom. But if teachers try to or know how to use AI inside the classroom, and make students use it, in the right way, of course it will be very useful and effective inside the classroom, and will help students be very active and motivated in the learning process. This is how I see this question in terms of
Thank you.
the learning
Thank you
process.
very much for your response to the question.
Yes, please.
His question is about what are the key challenges in integrating traditional and innovative approaches in English language teaching? Yes, Si Hamza, Si Mohamed, or Si Abdelmounim.
Yes, sir. The question is a bit complex. Mentions curricula and traditional values. Here, traditional values, does she mean moral values?
It's better.
And we are talking about digital tools and communicative competence. Anyway, I think that when it comes to technological tools or AI or the integration of technology in general, I don't think we can get rid of this, or we can do without this. Why? Because here we're talking about digital natives. Our students nowadays live with technology, and it should be integrated in the process of teaching and learning. When it comes to communicative competence in relation to values, maybe she means here cultural norms or norms of appropriate use of language. here we cannot just get obsessed with the target language culture and stick to how language is used according to the target culture norms, but we have to adopt a balanced approach where we value our our cultural practices, products, and beliefs, as well as get familiar or get to know the target culture. That's why we set in our policies the 5 C's, and one of them is culture and comparison. And here, culture is something that's integrated with language. And Professor Ouafaa talked about activating students' schemata. We link what students know with what they are going to learn when it comes to reading. And this knowledge starts from students' experiences, from their values, from their knowledge about culture. Professor Hamza also talked about using AI to generate content, and here we strike a balance between our culture and our values and the target language culture. And he insisted on evaluating the content before using this, because you cannot expect what you will get from AI tools. And here comes the role of the teacher to evaluate this content. And we have to also admit that English is not only the school subject that is taught to our students. We have a set of school subjects, and all of them are underpinned by a set of moral values that should be that are part of the overall aim we aim to achieve, regardless of the subject matter that we teach. So we have to strike the balance we have between our target culture, the target culture, and our local culture, and we have to take advantage of the digital tools to generate content that's appropriate to and that's aligned with our principles, our values, and at the same time prepare our students to be fluent, to be tolerant towards the target culture and the people in general. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your answer. We have other questions here. How can English language teaching in marginal? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we hear you.
Yes, hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
sir.
Any reflections on this question?
Yes. I just want to reflect on this question because it's really crucial to me, since I've been working in rural areas a lot. So how can English language teaching in marginalized schools, mainly rural areas, foster both cultural identity and global competence despite limited resources? Here we're talking about the limited resources, the digital divide that we're talking about. So these students don't have access to internet a lot, don't have a lot of AI literacy, don't know about technology that much, don't have it that much, if we may say that. So in some school, we were struggling to have light in the school. let alone talking about having a projector or talking about using AI at school or Wi-Fi. So having said that, there are a lot of things that teachers can do to promote these competencies and cultural identity, regardless of the challenges that we've talked about. So this is the role of the teacher. For me, I have tried to use low prep activities, realia. So there are a lot of things that we can do. For example, when it comes to reading, we used to, in the unit of shopping, I used to ask them to bring realia, real objects, and I used to divide them into shops, and we go to the sports place, okay, the fields that there, and we try to have like an open air market, a flea market using English, and I circulate and see that students are bargaining, negotiating prices, asking about prices, colors, talking about different items for sale. We don't having to use technology, so this is the kind of activities that teachers can incorporate while facing this digital divide dilemma in some marginalized places and rural areas. Hello. So I hope that I have answered the question somewhat. I have answered the question.
Can I add something to Abdelmounim?
Yes, please.
Okay. Of course, when we talk about, when we talk about marginalized schools, it's better for teachers to use storytelling, or to use proverbs, or to use songs. Or real life experiences or activities from the community. To build that language, skills in a way that affirm students' cultural heritage.
Yes, thank you. We have another question here. Teaching practices in ELT classroom. Shall I repeat?
Yes, please.
Okay. How can educators balance technology-centered teaching practices in the ALT classroom?
Please, can you repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Please, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. How can educators balance technological tools with human-centered teaching practices in the ELT classroom?
Yes, a simple answer, and I think Hamza talked about this. AI tools and other technological tools can be used to generate and deliver content, and he provided the brisk teaching as a suggestion to generate content, and even to differentiate content to meet the students' needs in a mixed ability classroom. And this is very insightful. Human intervention we cannot do without this. Because let's take the example of providing feedback. Do you think that a human-mediated feedback is similar to an AI tool mediated or generated feedback? There is a difference. There is a kind of human interaction that's necessary for learning. Humans understand each other better than machines. So the human beings are there, and they will always be in the classroom. There will always be a teacher. AI facilitates. In the past, we used to talk about ICT, integrating technological tools to facilitate the delivery of teaching material. For example, nowadays we're talking about AI, which has gone beyond. We're no longer talking about ICT, but the teacher is still there, and he or she will always be there. I think the example I provided of about feedback is a good one that illustrates this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Si Hamza, you mentioned in your presentation several challenges in implementing AI. Which of these do you think are, or do you consider are the most pressing in both the Moroccan and American context?
So there are, as it is the case for any new technology, there will be challenges. For AI, Mohamed mentioned the digital divide. Not everybody has has access to a smartphone or a computer or access to internet at home. So you cannot just assign homework that students would need AI to do at home, because not everyone will have access to internet. So the digital divide is a challenge, is the main one. Another challenge is logistics. A lot of our schools, and one of the questions was about rural schools or schools in rural areas. There are schools where we're still struggling to have basic electricity access. So it's logistics is definitely part of the main challenges facing wide technology implementation. And the other one, and that will be my last one, is training. AI is new, is evolving. We're not training teachers on how to use it effectively, let alone training students on how to use it. People are experimenting on their own, and not everyone is gonna do a good job at that. So there is a lack of training. There is an access challenge, and then there is a logistical nightmare.
Indeed, Si Hamza, it is often very difficult and more challenging in developing countries to integrate AI in teaching due to several factors. For example, not all students have access to the internet, and not all of them have devices that they can use to benefit from teaching via different platforms and through the use of AI, of course. Teachers in overcoming barriers such as lack of training or infrastructure when it comes to AI integration.
Yes. I want to add something in terms of this question, which is about how can educators balance that technology tools in the ELT classrooms. I mean, technology, when it is used, of course, we have to understand that word technology and how it will be used in the classroom. When it is used as enhancing ELT classrooms, or when it is used as a facilitating, it will take its right place. But when it's used as something that replaces the teacher, in this way, we cannot have that balance between that balance between educators, because technology should be used as a means. I mean, to promote communication and to create that sense of creativity between students. But teacher's role should be there, okay? Because the teacher should be there as a facilitator, as a guide for students. But when
Thank
that
you.
role of teacher is not there, technology cannot take its right place inside the classrooms.
Yes, indeed, indeed. I totally agree with you. We have another question here. In what ways do traditional pedagogical methods? I repeat the question. In what ways do traditional pedagogical methods still contribute value to language learning in the present era, of course?
Yes, please. Let me provide an example. Do you think nowadays we can teach students without the whiteboard and the textbooks? Didn't we experience this during the COVID-19 pandemic? Did most students like the experience of being taught online? So there is still a need for what can be labeled as traditional, between inverted commas, traditional practices. Some students, in addition to this, we have to admit that students are different, and there are different learning styles. There are different learning styles, and there are some students who learn by doing. They need in the classroom to move. They need textbooks and worksheets. They learn better through going to the board and writing the answer and coming back. Do you think that they are gonna learn with just being passive and receiving information, or just learn? They need interaction. They learn better when they interact with materials in a traditional sense. So we have to integrate technology. We have to integrate innovative teaching and assessment practices, but we still have to admit that there are certain practices, despite being labeled traditional, they still prove that they need to stay there in the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another question addressed to you, Si Mohamed. The question is, how can positive attitudes toward assessment be promoted among high school students? Toward assessment be promoted among high school students?
This is a difficult question, because that's one of the research questions I'm working on in my thesis. It's not an easy question to answer, because it's not a change of certain specific practices. It's an assessment culture that needs to change. Let me give an example. During the day of the national exam, you find parents waiting in front of the doors. I mean, of high schools. What are they waiting for? So there is a kind of assessment culture that values schools that sees those high-stakes standardized tests as gates to success. And this has been fostered, as I mentioned in the presentation, since early years of schooling, that exams are a means of success, and students perceive this. Not only students, but also parents. Parents, they like their students to get high marks, but they do not question whether these scores do represent what students should learn and be able to do. In addition to students and parents, administrations, it's a change of system. It's not just an easy intervention that could be done, but there must be interventions at different levels, including the teacher training, assessment policies, and then we can talk about students, because it's we as teachers who train and teach students, and our practices that are traditional do instill these values, these attitudes and these views in students. So it's not an easy process. It can take a long time. And as I said, one of the interventions is to at least reduce these standardized high-stakes tests, because the students sit for these in primary school, in secondary school, and in high school. And imagine how they perceive learning and assessment. As a result, they adapt performance goals, and their aim becomes to obtain high grades. It's not an easy process, it's not an easy decision. It does take time, and it requires interventions at diverse levels. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you so much. I have a question for Si Abdelmounim. Si Abdelmounim, could you please elaborate on how attitude is considered part of motivation or a separate construct?
Yes. Can you share the question with me, please? Can you share it here? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, could you please elaborate on how attitude was it considered part of motivation or separate construct?
Yes, attitude. So mainly we have tackled 3 types of motivation. We talked about extrinsic, intrinsic, and attitude motivation. So we have dealt with attitude as part of motivation, as a kind of motivation. So we have intrinsic, extrinsic, and then attitude type of motivation. So it was part of it. So we wanted to gauge this type of motivation concerning the use of PBL. Is it correlated with PBL, project-based learning, and the actual projects that we have given to those students, second year baccalaureate students, or there is no correlation between the two. And at the end, as I have shared with you, our results indicate that there is a positive and significant correlation between the projects that students have taken and the attitude motivation, their attitude motivation concerning using the correlation Pearson correlation test and Manuel Whitney tests in the study. Okay.
Thank you for your clarification. How does project-based learning differ from traditional instruction in terms of its impact on students' motivation and parents?
Yes, this is a very good question. When it comes to project-based learning, students work on real-world tasks. There is a problem. It's like a problem-based learning. There is an actual problem. There is a task that students are going to work together in order to complete. So the task comes from their own life. Okay, and there is a new way of doing the project, which is collaboratively with students. The teacher is crafting the task. So we discuss on what we want to do. Sometimes I give students freedom on the mode they want to present the project, the end project I'm talking about. So it could be, for example, in the form of an oral presentation. It could be, for example, a PowerPoint presentation, portfolio. Yeah, I'm going back to Mr. Zerk. Okay, it could be a portfolio. So I'm going to assist them on different rubrics. Okay, so I have the rubrics, I have the criteria with me. So I'm going to assess learners on different rubrics depending on their different techniques that they have incorporated while doing the project. So the end project is something that is related to their own life. It's something that is unique to them, and they can relate to. So this is how it is different, far different from the traditional teaching methods that we have been, for example, exercising and examining in the past.
Thank you very much, Sir Abdelmounim. So, do you all have any final words before we close this panel?
Yes, final words. For me, um, this was very informative because I've had the opportunity to share and exchange knowledge with colleagues and practitioners. Also, I've got many information from my co-presenters here, and I would like to thank you for your opportunity to give us the chance, okay, that you gave us here to present, to have this conference together. You gathered a great set of researchers here, enthusiastic researchers who are eager to share information with the public. You gave us this wonderful platform that some of us are using for the first time. Of course, we have struggled at the beginning, but now we know things. So this is one of the advantages of ICT. We are discovering, we are learning on daily basis. If we don't know how, we can go and ask AI. We can use AI. This was one of the themes of today's conference, or today's presentation, mainly by Mr. Hamza. So this is it. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Beit Lisaniyat, for organizing this conference for us. And thank you for all of the other presenters who were here today. And we cannot forget about our audience, either on YouTube or elsewhere. Thank you for your attention and high level of assiduity and high level of academic questions that have driven a lot of conversation and a lot of thoughts. Okay, so your questions were thought-provoking. Thank you, all of you who were with us here today.
Thank you very much, Sir Abdelmounim. Dr. Belouiza? We can't hear you. Please activate the mic.
Thank you very much for this important theme. And I would like to sincerely commend all the presenters, for their thoughtful contributions on the theme of bridging tradition and innovation, the future of English language teaching. I mean, the work which is presented really highlights the importance of honoring pedagogical foundations while embracing emerging technologies and learner-centered strategies.
Thank you. Si Mohamed.
Yes, thank you for hosting this meeting, and thanks to Belouiza Saniyat for this event. It was very insightful, fruitful, and we learned a lot from this. I special thanks also go to the presenters, Dr. Ouafaa, Prof. Abdelmounim, and Prof. Hamza. I have really learned a lot from their presentations. They have provided insights that are helpful for us as teachers. Thanks also to the participant, to the audience for their questions, and I look forward to participating in future events. Thank you.
Thank you, Si Mohamed. Si Hamza.
Yeah, I want to thank you for moderating this session. I want to thank Belouiza Saniyat for organizing this webinar. I also want to thank my fellow presenters, Ouafaa, Abdelmounim, and Si Mohamed. It was a pleasure to present with you. Thank the viewers on YouTube or elsewhere for their engagement and questions. Yeah. Feel free to connect with me. Let's keep the conversation going. I would love to collaborate and talk to you more about this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. So as we come to the close of this enriching day of dialogue, reflection, and intellectual exchange, allow me to express my opinions. Under the theme Bridging Tradition and Innovation, the Future of English Language Teaching, today's conference has offered us a remarkable opportunity to reflect on the evolving landscape of language education, a landscape shaped not only by pedagogical traditions, advancement. In this panel, Dr. Belouiza, whose insightful exploration of schema theory brought to light the powerful role of background knowledge in reading instruction and reminded us of the importance of culturally responsive Abdelmounim, whose passionate adrenaline illustrated how student-centered approaches can spark motivation, autonomy, and deeper engagement in our classrooms. Si Hamza Rfissa invited us to intersection, effective and ethical integration of AI in language, reminding us that without wise choices, smart tools can indeed empower both teachers. Or with wise choices, smart tools can indeed empower both teachers and learners. Finally, we Zerk, who offered a grounded and thoughtful investigation into students' perceptions of classroom-based assessment, highlighting the importance of transparency, learner voice, and formative feedback in creating supportive learning environments. Together, these presentations echoing the core message of our conference, that the future of English language teaching lies not in abandoning tradition, but in thoughtfully and ethically integrating innovation to meet the needs of 21st century learners. Now, I would like to express my sincere gratitude and to all the speakers for their insightful and informative presentations, the audience for their thought-provoking questions, and the organizing committee for making this event possible. See you all at the upcoming events. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.